in the early 2000s, when Star Trek Enterprise was around, some dingleberry at Paramount decided, you know what? Star Trek has always been about the one-off episodes, maybe a two-parter here and there. And, let's do a season-long fucking thing and make an entire season about one, particular storyline. That's basically what happened in Star Trek Enterprise. It was the whole Xindi arc.
Right.
And then season 4, the last season, they went back to the, episode or like story of the week. And guess what? Their ratings went up.
Yep.
People loved it. And then for some reason, Paramount canceled it. And that was the end of Star Trek Enterprise. Since then, we've gotten Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard. It has been very much a season-long, story.
Yeah.
And not the traditional Star Trek, what are we doing, episode of the week type thing.
Right.
Star Trek Strange New Worlds, its whole point is to kind of correct and get back to like the core of Star Trek, which is having these interesting one-off episodes discussing, deeper conversations around society, individuals, but through the lens of like sci-fi. Right. So we got our first episode this week. Mm-hmm. What did you guys think? Initial thoughts of this brand new show with the crew of Enterprise and Chris Pike.
I liked it. My initial thought was I liked it. The actor they got to play Pike, I thought was very well suited for that part. He looked exactly the way I had imagined Pike to look. Of course, I remember seeing what Pike looked like in the series way back in the 60s. There's an episode, with the original Star Trek team where they show what happens with Pike, and they see Pike sitting in this like half machine type thing, and he's sort of disfigured. And I like that they showed that you see a scene again in this episode that alludes back to that, and I liked that because it brings you back to who this Pike is.
Right.
But now we're getting to see Pike before, and so I'm interested in that. Who knew he was from Montana? Well,
yeah, his farm.
Yes, in Montana.
Right.
So you had Picard with his chateau in France, and
Pike
now we have Pike in his...
So it's basically, if I want to be a Starfleet captain, I need to own a lot of land.
You need a lot of land.
Interesting.
In some remote place.
So
right.
Interesting.
So they can land the ship, the spaceship.
The ship can land.
No, it sounds like only landowners get to be captains.
Yeah.
It's a very colonial thought process.
Only the rich. The well-connected.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Rich, yeah.
What are your initial thoughts, though, Dad, for Strange New Worlds?
My first initial thought is Pike's supposed to be prior to Kirk. But these technology is far more integrated than...
Dad, this is the same take you had when we saw Star Wars Attack of the Clones. I remember this specifically. We left the theater and you said, boy, that was interesting. Why is the tech so much better if it's in the fucking past?
Because this is now 2020.
Right. No, I understand. We are trying to figure out, you're trying to portray somebody, Pike, right? He was a captain, right? Pike before Kirk. Sorry, spoiler.
No, I mean, this whole thing's spoiler.
There was a Kirk. What was it?
Captain Kirk.
Kirk. There was a
James
Kirk
T. Kirk.
who actually came on to
the Enterprise.
The Enterprise towards the last scene.
Yeah, that weird guy that had a mustache.
Yeah, exactly. He's supposed to be
Lieutenant Kirk.
Kirk, right? He came on.
Yeah, but that was his father.
Right. Yeah, we know it was.
So if you remember the story of James T. Kirk,
right?
That was his father. His father was on the starship.
His father died.
Wait, on the Enterprise?
Yes, they went out on the mission, and he so
while he was being born, I think.
Actually, what?
No. So you're thinking about J.J. Abrams' Star Trek.
Yeah.
Remember, that has nothing to do with this Star Trek. That's in a different timeline altogether. So that has nothing to do with this one. So that Kirk that we see at the end, towards the end of Strange New Worlds, that is James T. Kirk. The Kirk that will eventually become captain of the Enterprise.
That's supposed to be him?
That's supposed to be him, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Because remember, towards the end, Pike says, James T. Kirk, or Kirk, your new boss, Spock, on the science department.
Right.
So that's how those two initially meet. So they meet on the Enterprise, and there's going to be, and I'm curious to see, because going back to initial thoughts of the show, I think I told you this already before the show has even come out. Pike is my favorite character, favorite captain, because this man knows exactly the torture that awaits him in about 10 years-ish.
Yes.
He knows how he's going to die, and he is owning up to it. This entire episode was around him coming out of seclusion, going on a mission, and realizing that he could just try and hide, or he can try and go and better the world for others.
Which was lovely, and I loved that about him. But my favorite, there was a line in this that I really, really loved, and I actually...
you actually wrote it?
While you're pulling that up, there was one thing I wanted... No, I lost it. Train of thought. Go ahead.
I'll go ahead.
When I remember.
Sorry. And I think this really speaks to Pike and will help him to accept and see what is coming his way. It's where the other character, his new number one, they have a conversation towards the end.
Lyanne.
Yeah, and she says, "Not believing you're going to die is what's going to get you killed."
Yes,
and that was how she survived when everybody else for her died.
From the Gorgons,
whatever they were.
Yeah.
And I feel that it speaks to him very loudly.
Yeah,
and that will help him. And that's why he doesn't die in that event. He ends up in that machine.
Right.
So that was like my favorite piece right there.
So what I was going to say, so that the present James T. Kirk Enterprise that we have, what's his name? The guy who acted Kirk now with the new Enterprise series movies.
Oh, the one with Chris Pine.
Chris Pine.
Yeah.
It's very confusing.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's Chris Pine. What I was going to say was, when he became the captain of the Enterprise, remember he didn't go to school. He didn't go to the.
He went to school, but he was like
he didn't want
out.
He was a rebel.
He didn't want to.
Yeah.
But then when he was on a mission with Pike, so this Pike that we're seeing, not the series Pike, the Pike we see in that movie. When he was supposed to go ask Pike, are you gonna relieve or pass the thing on to me? So he had to ask Pike to your relief of captaincy, and he's gonna take it over. So which timeline is that now?
That's his own separate thing altogether.
That's okay. So that has nothing to do with this one.
So what we're seeing right now, and the way it's been explained, is this is the Prime universe. Okay. So there's the Prime universe. There's the Dark universe or the Evil universe timeline. Then there's what they call the J.J. Abrams timeline, and that's what those Star Trek movies with Chris Pine and everything. Right. So that one is completely different because those events are so different. That Chris Pike does not have the same fate that the Prime Chris Pike or Captain Pike has.
The original
has. So different story altogether. Okay. And honestly, those Star Trek movies, the JJ ones, are just, they're, how do you put it politely? They're just weird action movies. I don't know if I necessarily consider them Star Trek. Right. They're their own things, and they can just stay over there.
Yeah, I think that's where we saw the one where, according to the J.J. Abrams one.
It was that's I understand now where that comes from.
Yeah, so that's where that's why I'm excited for Strange New Worlds, because we're going to instead of there's a new crisis in the galaxy and it's going to take all season to figure it out. Right. It's more what we saw in this first episode where First Contact, right? First Contact, the Prime Directive, the whole.
That was great.
Those are all core, fundamental, amazing things of Star Trek.
Right.
And, we're introduced to this planet that his original number one is now captain of. I forget the ship's name. Sorry. They explore this planet. This planet has warp capabilities, not because they're using warp technology to travel great distances, but to nuke and destroy their enemies. Yes. And what it was really cool though is it tied into the events of Star Trek Discovery, where they were able to observe this galactic big ripping in their sky, and they were able to figure out the technology. That I thought was really, really cool. Where
I liked also that it is the beginning, because of that event and because of what happened. Then the Prime Directive becomes. They develop it from there.
Yeah, they further have to change it.
Yes, they develop it from there.
Because they even explain, like, they show a map of, like, all the planets in the region.
Right.
And, you know, a lot of them are part of the Federation or working to become part of the Federation, which means you're going to pollute the night sky with spaceships coming in and out. Right. Planets that aren't necessarily ready for warp capability. If they're close enough, you're going to see it. So it was, like, discovering and talking about this idea of, like, polluting a world without even realizing you're polluting it because worlds are developing and you're so close to it. Like that I thought was really cool and a nice way to kind of like talk about something we've been shown a lot of in the Star Trek like canon and universe. Geez, I lost my train of thought of the next thing. That happens all the time here. Oh. Where I'm talking one thing and I completely forget what was the next thing.
What was the next thing we were going to say about
Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Oh, that was it. So, I'm not sure if you picked up on this.
Go ahead.
But Star Trek has, to a degree, and this is actually kind of depressing, so bear with me. Mm-hmm. Star Trek Strange New Worlds has made the events of January 6th somewhat canon in the Star Trek history of the world. What I mean by that is when Pike beams himself down and he's talking to the delegates of the two alien species fighting with each other, he broadcasts images of Earth during our now, the 21st century. And they show imagery of January 6th.
I didn't recognize, did they?
It was images from like news footage of January 6th.
When they were fighting.
And Pike says that was the start of the second Civil War in America. That was very like on the nose, depressing, but also like that is what Star Trek does.
It was
like,
also very astute.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was like I was kind of like, oh, okay.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I went further in my mind from that statement because then I thought, so then Second Civil War, Third World War, and where are we now? And I feel, you know, and I don't want to feel the way I feel, but I feel that that's, you know, it's a bit depressing.
It's a bit depressing. It also feels it's very like on the nose where, we are kind of to a degree like it feels like we are on the cusp of like
that's the power of TV, movies, film. That's the power of it is to get messages across, to tell a story, to enlighten.
Yeah, that has always been like the core of Star Trek is to kind of show you your shit, and then hopefully you don't let that happen.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting and like that's a good nod to the creators of this show. Like tying it back into real world things, and then
it was thoughtful, wasn't it?
Very thoughtful. Yeah. Overall, I think when I look at Star Trek pilot episodes and the first, this is probably
I liked
top
it. I
three
did. I felt very
of all time.
Pleased afterwards. I said to your dad, I really did like that.
Yeah. I'm very excited. I said to the bros, I was like, Drina's gonna watch it, Learman's gonna watch it. Krishna is on the fence,
right?
But like, he should at least give it a try.
I think he should at least watch one and see what he thinks.
Because again, I think, and they said they're going to do this, is going to be what are we doing this week, and we're going to keep it self-contained. And you know, Voyager did, I think, a really good job of this, where we have this overarching theme, which is we're stuck, we need to get home.
Right.
That's the main big plot.
Yeah.
But each week was still very
kind of
adventure,
like a different adventure.
Different adventure. This one is definitely gonna focus on Pike, and Pike knows where he is now, and he knows where he's gonna end up.
Yeah.
But that we get to see everything in between in the adventures of the week. So I think they've got a good formula. So I'm hopeful for this.
On a really, really silly note, you know, I would love to see like some of the episodes, like when I watched the series way back when remember it started in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in the 60s, so I got to watch it while I grew up. And Trouble with Tribbles.
Yes.
You know, that kind of storyline, or those little fun things are what for me keeps the younger generation entertained. And I would like to see some of that element come back, because some of it can be really heavy right now.
Yeah. Yep.
And so the younger generation may not want to see that.
Yeah. No, they definitely, seeing the silly and breaking up, I think, is helpful. Deep Space Nine did a good job too, where a lot of Deep Space Nine is some heavy shit,
right?
You know, invasion, the idea of self, being a parent,
right?
That whole thing, and then
just as we were, exactly as we were at the time.
But they had their episode with Trouble with Trebles, where they actually go back in time.
Yeah,
and it's a very fun. It's considered, I think, like one of the top 10 Star Trek episodes of all time. It's one of my favorites. Tribbles. So yeah, it would be kind of cool to see something like that. Who knows?
Trouble
with Tribbles.
Trebles. If you go to like a lot of conventions, they'll have vending machines filled with like trebles. And
I
you
need
can just
those.
Go and,
I just need to get
well, it's
those.
kind of fun.
I think I need those everywhere.
Yeah.